Welcome back, everyone, to the DreamHack Showdown 2019. We are live from the Feria Valencia here in beautiful Spain. And of course, the action is only going to get hotter. Over the course of the next 3 days, 8 teams will be duking it out. And at the end, only one team will walk away with that title of DreamHack Showdown champion. Welcome, everyone. My name is Smix, and I'm joined by some lovely, lovely people right next to me, Potter and Melania. It's fantastic to have you guys here. How are you doing, Melania?
I'm so excited. I want the games to start already.
There's definitely so much to look forward to, and it's interesting because Melania, you were competing as recently as early this year, so what is it like for you personally to be on this side of the fence and now be behind a desk?
Yeah, it's completely different, and we're really excited about this, and I think this will give me a different perspective somehow. Yeah.
What about yourself, Potter? I know that there's so many amazing players and teams to look forward to. Is this something you're specifically looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as Melania said, it's a different perspective, right? And taking a step back from competing and kind of watching these teams formulate their plans and figure out how they're going to tackle and win this tournament. As a player, you think you have everything figured out, right? Or you're trying to figure it out. But when you take a step back and look, it's a whole new world, I think.
For sure, and there's so many amazing teams here. Let's take a look at the 8 teams that will be competing over the next 3 days. As you can see, there's groups A and B, and Potter, when you look at these 8 teams, what are the top 3 sort of teams that stick out to you?
I think it's definitely got to be Besiktas, CLG Red, and Copenhagen Flames. I mean, we just heard Mimi talking about the confidence that she's had. I mean, thinking about her mentality and how she kind of feels those secret vibes coming back for her and her squad. So I think that's really exciting, and yeah, these ladies have been working really hard. I think these 3 teams are definitely going to be the challenge for most of the tournament.
Melania, would you agree with her?
Yeah, and definitely Dignitas as well.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and these 4 are like the main teams, and I think everybody's looking forward to to watch those games.
Fantastic, and of course, Dignitas is part of that Group A, and so let's take a look at what matches will be starting the day off with. That first match that we're kicking things off with is Dignitas taking on Orange, and of course, the other match is going to be the Copenhagen Flames, as we saw Mimi earlier, taking on Demise. So when it comes to Dignitas and Orange, Potter, let's start breaking this down because Dignitas has been a household name. They've really proven themselves, especially over the last year. What are the biggest things that stick out with you?
You know, I think when we're talking about Dignitas, we have to talk about their team cohesion, their synergy. It's something that they've been working on as a unit for the past several years, and I think for the past year and a half, 2 years, they found a lot of success in that. I would say Dignitas is a team that probably doesn't have as much firepower as, say, like a Besiktas with the Zaz and the Giuliano backing it up, but Dignitas has that teamwork. They have that synergy, they have their coach behind them, and they're very known for their prep, how they come into these tournaments.
For sure. And we're going to break them down in a little bit more detail in just a bit, but Potter, give us 3 reasons why we should be looking forward to this upcoming match.
Okay, so these are the 3 reasons why I think this match should be interesting. And reason number 1 is going to be the graphics should be popping up here. There we go. So the 3 reasons why this match is gonna rock. And the reason number 1 is Dig's honeymoon period. I mean, Dignitas is coming into this tournament with a new 5th, and they just recently benched Kath, new player in Thea coming in, a very young, up-and-coming player from the North American scene. Reason number 2 is the fear of the unknown. Orange is a team from Malaysia that we don't have that much information on, and neither does Dignitas. And as we mentioned, Dignitas is a prep-heavy team. So coming into this, that unknown factor, I think, is really gonna play a role. And reason number 3, will nerves play a factor? Orange is a newer team. Thea is a newer player coming into this. So nerves, I think, will definitely play a factor coming into this series.
For sure, and now we can really start talking and digging into Dignitas. I know you had lightly touched on it yourself in that they did have sort of this roster change with Thea coming in and Kath leaving, and that was actually a huge move that was made because Kath was such a huge part of the firepower that they had. So speaking to that, you know, how much of an impact do you think that's going to have on their play style? Do you think it's going to be the same, just putting Thea exactly where she was?
I think so. You know, Kath was a player that was, it's going to be challenging, right? Because Kath was Dignitas' firepower. She was the player, the superstar of that Dignitas lineup for a long time. I mean, she had 2 stints on that Dignitas roster. So replacing her is going to be challenging, and I think the unknown factor here is that Thea is the younger player coming in. Thea, I remember she was 13 years old at a Philadelphia, coming in with her parents into a LAN center, and she was just this young girl coming into the scene, and now she's here competing. So it's a huge moment for her, a huge moment for Dignitas, and it's going to be curious to see how they bode here.
That's awesome to get to play on this level right now, and yeah, I mean, she has such good teammates, and that will boost her up. And especially the coach, let's not forget about him, because I think in the whole scene, all the female teams kind of look up to their coach because all the effort he puts in, and I think that will be also really helpful for her.
Definitely. I mean, I remember back in the day with XP3, he was even my coach for a little bit. So he's definitely been within the female scene for quite some time. And he was also a very dominant French player, like back in the day in AAA in the French scene, and then he moved over to Canada. But yeah, he's certainly been a huge voice within the scene. And I know he's like Dignitas' hype man. Like he's the guy behind the team that's gonna, when the team is feeling down, and I think this is gonna be a huge factor, like we mentioned for Thea, you know, he's gonna be that guy that's gonna be able to kind of lift the team's spirits up.
So it looks like the first map is going to be on Train, which should be very, very interesting. I know that offers love this map. When you take a look at that, you know, do you think this favors Dignitas? Do you think that this means Orange has a chance?
This will be a very, I think because Orange has Eve, and Eve is a great AWPer, she's really swift and really quick, and I think that will be really interesting to have these like long range, firepower. So I think that will be something to really look forward to. And also I know that GFI is really amazing at everything. She's kind of an all-rounder. So yeah, I'm excited about this match.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at Dignitas. I know that we had briefly brought up Thea and how she is sort of this new factor to that team. But of course, a lot of these other players have been competing for a very long time as well. I mean, on screen, we have Rain there. So what are your thoughts on Rain?
You know, I think Rain, she's definitely a player that's always been discussed as a top female player within the world. And for the past few years, she's kind of taken more of a supportive role, I think, within Dignitas, because as I said, they're a very teamwork-heavy team. But I think with the departure of Kath, it's really going to be up to Rain. It's going to be up to Rain to step up to the plate and take advantage of the fact that now she is going to be the superstar on this lineup. So I think Rain is going to be a huge impact coming into this matchup for sure. And again, we mentioned the opping portion on Train is going to be huge. And Emily's not an AWPer that we actually discuss quite as often as a top AWPer within the female scene, but she's very cerebral. She's going to set herself up for success and her teammates up for success. And I think that's why it's such a recipe for success for these girls, because she's able to survive. She's able to she's not that superstar AWPer that's going to go in and get all the frags, but she's going to be able to set her teammates up for success.
And I know that we just took a quick look at Thea and Melania. Talk to us what the perspective is like, you think, for such a young player. This is a huge event for her. Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be a really new experience. So what do you think we can expect for someone like her?
I think, well, I really hope that the nerves are not going to be a factor in this case. But yeah, let's be honest, perhaps it will happen. But I think that she's going to be just guided and she knows what she's going to do. They have had their preparation. So I think she's going to be just fine within these like super talented girls.
I think there's no doubt that Dignitas is an extremely formidable team, and of course they're taking on Orange. So let's take a look at them. I know that you had briefly mentioned it earlier that in a team like Orange, where perhaps we don't know as much about them as a team like Dignitas, there is a lot of advantages in their favor. So can you talk to us about that? I mean, is it going to be the VODs reviewed? You know, from your perspective, what do you think is going in the favor of Orange?
I mean, it's definitely got to be that underdog factor. Coming into a tournament like this where your opponents don't have much information on you, you have all the cards to be able to play with. And I think absolutely Orange should be able to come into this match and be able to gamble a little bit, because they really don't have anything to lose. And I really hope to see them capitalize on the idea that they don't have anything to lose and really go out there and go for it. Be innovative, be a little ballsy, go for plays that you don't normally go for. And I like the fact that it's actually on Train. I was really afraid of something like a Mirage or an Inferno coming out. These are the generic maps that most of these ladies are very proficient on. So a map like Train is going to be more, I think, challenging for both teams coming to this, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, and I think it's really good to be in the underdog position because, yeah, as we before mentioned, there's no kind of VODs to watch about these Orange girls, so it's going to be really excited, and I think this might be a close matchup. Maybe they're going to be swooped around, and unexpected things can happen.
For sure, especially in a best of one. You never know what is going to happen. But for those of you guys watching at home, we want to hear your thoughts. Use hashtag Dignitas or hashtag Orange. Let us know who you think will win. We're going to be seeing what you guys think in just a little bit. But of course, I want to hear from you guys on the desk as well. Let's start with you, Melania. If you had to predict someone to win, who would it be?
I think because it's Dignitas' first game, they might be a little bit shaken. So I'm going to guess that Dignitas will win at the end, but it's going to be a close game.
What about you?
I have to agree. I think Dignitas should be able to, and for Dignitas' side of things, I think that they have to kind of dominate here. They have to set themselves up, set the pace for the rest of the tournament. And Dignitas, let's be honest, are the heavy favorites coming into this matchup, so they should handedly win this. And if they don't, I think that's going to be worrisome for their squad going further on into the tournament. And for the Orange side of things, since we don't have that much information, yeah, I mean, it's up in the air for them, and I hope they do make it very competitive.
So just to confirm, you're also in the Dignitas vote?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 2 people that are voting for Dignitas, which means I'm going to vote for Orange. It's a best of 1. It's the first match of the tournament. You never know what's going to happen. There's a lot of nerves, especially, Dignitas, despite being the more veteran team, they do have a new player playing with them. So I personally think that this one is up for grabs, and I'm going to be voting for Orange. But we'll see what happens in just a little bit. But our casters are actually ready. So let's head over and check with them. It's going to be Lauren and Harry. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. I mean, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to finally cast a game, and of course it's on Train, so why have they done that to me?
What? You're not a Train fan, Lauren?
Train's hot garbage, dude.
I just realised I have my seat way too far.
Are you guys matching? Was this planned?
So today,
Oh, just you wait.
Yeah.
Just you wait. We got things in mind.
I finally met someone who can be like my shirt partner in crime,
I'm
and
here.
it's Lauren. Who knew?
I have no taste.
You guys look absolutely fantastic. Take it away, guys.
Thank you. And I think the desk kind of highlighted it well coming into this matchup, the dangers of best of ones. I think this is one of those situations where you could see an upset of some variety, theoretically, right? The theory is there, but, the fear of the unknown and all that stuff. But practically, you've got Train. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah, and I also just think, like, with this Dignitas squad, right, they're a squad that aren't really all that used to losing. They're one that tend to do pretty well at the majority of events they go to. I think, even when I looked into it, the only team they lost to recently was Assassins. So, yeah, I mean, even then, they're here, right, I'm pretty sure, but they changed name. It's all a bit weird at the minute. So,
it is.
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
Rostermania.
It's been like an adjustment for me, right, having to do my homework and get ready for this. But I actually got to see a few of these guys play already at WSG. And it was great watching them there. So I'm excited to see now when we have like full teams showing up. Yeah. Instead of like, it being based on region. I'm excited because you kind of look at like the female event like landscape, right? The DreamHack Showdown is such a cool event because of course you're getting that place at DreamHack Open as well if you win this tournament, which is so valuable to whoever picks that up, right?
That is the big goal here.
Yeah.
Yes, this tournament is where it is, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be close. You've got a lot of underdogs. You can't get too far ahead. But I know for, let's say, a handful of these teams, the more favored teams coming into this, that is the goal, though.
Yeah.
It is that chance at Open. It is that chance to get to stretch their legs into the bigger scene, see how they kind of fare out there. That's pretty much it. Put themselves in the most competitive situation they can at this moment and get to work their way forward. And honestly, I like that about DreamHack in general. A winner of Open gets to go up to the next tier as well. It's a genuine way to progress as a team. And you might get absolutely backhanded. You know what I mean? Like, you might make it out of this, get to Open, and you just get absolutely trashed. But it's a way to learn. It's a way to start. There's no better practice than the officials themselves. And for example, we have so little background on Orange, for example, right? You can look at them and maybe like, okay, well, they qualified this way, they came in from here. But you have no idea what they're bringing to the plate. And it's kind of the same if you looked at, let's say, Dignitas, if they made it through to an Open, they really don't know what they'd be coming up against in that environment, in that situation. Yes, they're competitive, but it's a whole different environment when you get to these stages, like we have here in Valencia, and we have Train to start it off. I'm excited for this. I want to see what Orange.Sphynx can actually bring to the plate.
Yeah, most definitely. I am loving the new little load-in music as well. If that
it's all anticlimactic though, because now there's a pause. It's like, why have you done this?
It was actually just a tease. We're just flexing our new sounds.
Feels good.
I was so ready. It was like the drums of war were building up, or you're building this hype storyline. Yeah, it was going to be El Clasico.
I was going to say, do you actually play Classic WoW, Drums of War?
No.
You don't play WoW?
No.
You're not excited for Classic?
I dodged that.
Wow.
Well, because I feel like if I did, it's good that I don't, because it would be all I play. So, yeah.
Fair enough. It is time to jump into the game. We are live and we are in the thick of things. On the CT side, it's going to be Dignitas, the team you know and love. And Orange.Sphynx, a bit of an I guess, Enigma at this point. Have to work out what they're up to, but a slow play towards B could be read very swiftly by Milk, and that is certainly not semi-skimmed at this point. It's full fat going on there towards B. It's been locked down pretty early on. Rotations not quite en route yet.
Yeah, Thea actually going to have to try and hold their own here, but that bomb is the last thing rotating into this bomb site, so they might have B. But the bomb could still get shut down here, and that could cause a lot of problems for Orange.Sphynx. Oh, they're kind of finding that out now. It's Jazz last left alive, and she'll get put down. So Dignitas, they're going to take that pistol round. They make quick work of the attempted inner push. And don't really break a sweat there. That looked a little too comfortable.
No, Jasmine and the crew showing a whole new world. I'm going to see how many of these lines I can get
no,
in,
you're
dude.
banging them out.
It
takes me like a bit to warm up. But
no, you got to go in straight away. Because then the bar's real low. The only way is up.
Okay, that's good.
You know?
I like that. I like that. Okay, I'll give it a go. I'll get the old brain warmed up.
But honestly, let's look bigger picture here as well for Dignitas, because this round should be pretty much thrown aside. A plant's what you're aiming for. Maybe a pick with that deagle is going to be lovely if you can get it. But beyond that, it's get the nerves off, right? Just shake it off, move forward. If you're Dignitas, you can, you just get that kind of like first hurdle out of the way. You don't want to lose the pistol round, because then you get down to probably like, 3 rounds against you, and it's like, we're the favorites. Why have we, dribbled so hard? But for now, they've been able to stabilize, and for them, I want to see a clean round here. I don't want to see sloppiness. I want to see, ideally, most people alive. And it looks like the B hit's going to come in, pretty standardized. And R-Star's out on a bit of an island. That's a loss there, and I'm surprised the lack of support, honestly.
Oh no, how is this happening?
This is not good. A plant and kills?
Close, and these Glocks, they've been able to get into the bomb site. They've pulled it down with 2v3. Never mind, because luckily enough, Dignitas have got a leash back on that round.
Sure. Yeah, they did get it back, but it's like,
I know you're not happy there, Lauren.
I don't want to see sloppiness. This is the thing with my mind is I want those rounds to be where you just kind of put in cement that you can't touch us, right? You don't get bomb plants. You don't get the additional. You don't get 2 kills on RB players with Glocks and a deagle. Like that to me is where you make your statement, right? It's that, fear of a name, right? If you're Orange.Sphynx and you're coming into this, you've probably seen Dignitas before. You've seen these guys play, and you're a little bit nervous, but now they're starting to shake off those nerves, maybe feeling, okay, well, we can get plants. We have hit the B side twice. They have no idea what we can bring towards A. It looks like a set piece coming out if those 2 smokes are coming in. It is. Curious what they have in store for us.
Oh, well, they've thrown those smokes, Lauren, but they're not pushing into the A bomb site. They actually had 4 players towards inner. Milk will discover this initially, and Thea, she's kind of shut this entire round down. It is just Eve and Jazz remaining, and as they filter in towards A, so many crossfires set up. Jazz has blinded herself and now finds herself alone in Pop Dog. You're really struggling to get much done here if you're her. 1v4, she's at least got the bomb on her back if you want to look for kind of Silver linings. Yeah, there we go. We're finishing each other's sentences already, Lauren.
She's going to need a magic carpet to get her out of this one.
Oh, jeez. It's just awful.
But it is a 1v1 on B. Technically, she could maybe get a plant out of it. I mean, it's not ideal, but still.
I'm trying to remember more characters from Aladdin, but I can't.
Jafar?
Yeah, there we go.
Hell yeah.
Nah, that one.
We'll work on it.
That one would be... one bridge to Jafar. I don't know. Yeah, I set the ball really low. But Dignitas,
that's better.
Yeah, they're raising the bar. 3-0. They take that round. That's their statement round, actually, up against the 4 rifle
that
buys.
Was big.
Yeah, sure, the Glocks might have gotten a little bit close, but they really do just wreck them with the rifles.
And I want to say how pretty big that is for Thea as well coming into this. She's one of the younger players, newer players to the Dignitas roster, stepping in the shoes of, I guess, Kath at this point. And that's a big role to fill, and that little spray transfer, that crisp aim coming in, perfect. That's what you want. That's how you get confident as a new player, or a younger player, should I say. You start well. I think this is going to be a point going forward is now, sadly for Orange, they're going to start feeling, under the pressure, right? They're now feeling the full burden of this, and they've yet to be able to fully humble Dignitas, right? We saw that 2B push coming out from, I think it was Milk and Thea there. So until they can slow them down, literally hit the brakes. It won't be this round. They're on a pistol buyer. But you need to humble Dignitas a little bit to stop them doing that. Then you can play a normal game. Until you do that, you're not going to be able to play the game you want here. You're just going to be at the mercy of them. Clean round for Dignitas. Beautifully done. That's what you want. Just keep it building. This should be, your day in the office. This is your work week. You've just checked in. You've had that bagel. Your coffee's on the side. You shouldn't be breaking a sweat yet.
No, definitely not. And I have to agree with you there. I think you make a great point, right? And that is just that Dignitas are kind of being allowed to do whatever they want at this point in time. We've seen them go for those B pushes, both in the pistol in that second round, and then in the rifle as well. That was how Thea and Milk were able to shut it down in this round.
Read.
Yeah, they head on over towards Ivy, but there's players lying in wait. Smoke's gonna fall down towards Ivy, but it might not matter because Thea, she's a monster.
She's nuts, dude.
She's
going
mental.
On. But I also want to highlight how much of a good read that was. They've done that kind of aggressive B hit, and they were like, okay, well, the next player's coming in, let's switch something up. Let's assume they'll change, because they're probably not going to go for the same B hits that have been getting them completely battered for the last couple of rounds. Over towards A they go, and there's the read. You already had 4 players there, aggression on Ivy, a little bit of a flash out. Good work from Eve to at least get a little bit of a step in the right direction here, but they're going to need a lot more than that. She does take down Artstar, which was the only player towards B initially. There has been a rotate, and Emily's there watching as we go, and the AWP comes through. Rough start for Orange. They're starting to feel the pressure of arguably one of the better teams here.
Yeah, that kind of always was like the horrible kind of truth for Orange, is that they are the heavy underdogs coming into this matchup, right? You are playing up against one of the most experienced teams at this event. And I tell you what, the real kind of, for me, one of the chances that maybe Orange had was Thea coming into this, obviously being a newer player within the squad. Maybe she was going to struggle a little bit. Maybe the pressure was going to get to her. But it kind of seems like it's the polar opposite. She's looking very hungry instead. She's looking to prove herself immediately within this team. And she's doing that in spades. Currently top of the server, 7-0. And it's been her just taking all of these aggressive stances. You think over towards B, she did it in Ivy in the round prior, and I hope we can just see her keep doing that. Yeah, I really like it.
It's good. I mean, you're building up a brand new player, and I think this is something that the desk, and especially Potter, can break down considering the team she's been in, is that you can, these emotional younger players have the highest highs and lowest lows, but we'll come back to that in a second because the quick hit is coming towards A, and already having some success here and very good trades for the T side. Rain could kind of dampen all of this though. Trade again. This is really good trading from Orange. They're actually being pretty competitive, but Emily holding towards Con at least slowed that down. 2v2 now, both AWPs, not ideal situation for it.
Yeah, not if that bomb goes down, but for watching these long angles with the AWP out in the open, actually, I think Artstar in particular, she's going to feel pretty fine and dandy with this kind of situation. Bomb will get retrieved. It's Argent to grab it. Argent now deleted, rather. It's actually DFI left up, 1v2. The 2 AWPs throwing into this retake. She knows the position of Emily, and Emily's going to get dropped, heading over towards Pop Dog. And yeah, I think she spotted Artstar earlier on in the round, so she's just going to home on in, and she's going to get them both to Orange. They finally get their first round on the board over here in round number 6. You mentioned some great trading, but it is GFI to close things out with a 1v2 clutch at the end. Was able to, actually was able to grab one of those AWPs. I didn't actually quite see that. I was kind of getting a bit ahead of myself.
Don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't. I feel like she would have had time to, though. So maybe that was like a conscious decision to not go for the AWP.
If the quick pace is working with them, they kind of just need to keep it up. I don't know if they can do the same thing again, because you're seeing the utility being utilized. But this is good, though. This is what I mean by humbling Dignitas to her extent. They've had to play a little bit more normal now. Artstar loses the fight. That was brazen from Artstar. It's bold to do it, and Rain's going to try and do the same thing. This is quick, and it's got pace to it. Rain applies the pressure. It slows down the T side, but there's already one let loose towards B. You already have a player towards it, and this is sloppy now from Dignitas. This is a sudden reminder that Orange aren't here to play. They do have actually a good shot at this. A 2v1, though, and it's Thea, the young blood. Bomb going to be planted, surely going to go down. No denying that. The nade will do some chip damage, but not a great deal. 8-1 thus far. Spots out one up top, knows there's one on site. She's got the read.
Yeah, she's got the read, and she's in a good position for it. Able to get the reload off. Smoke in hand as well, and a kit for the defuse, so definitely with a chance, but Eve peeking wide will shut her down. Orange going to be in with their second round as they finally start to chain a couple together here. There will still be a buy available for Dignitas, but it's not going to be great. A lot of this is down to that $10,000 over on Thea. She's going to be able to supplement her teammates' buy in this round. She's even been nice enough to throw an AWP over to... Oh, did she drop 2 AWPs? No, just the one,
yeah, this is what I meant about humbling them. So you saw that aggression from Rain coming out. You saw Artstar, I think it was, pushed up on B ramp. These are sort of like just dry peaks. This is like super, super bold. And then again, being punished for this sort of bold play. at least Artstar this time is there to be able to kind of get back in towards it after Thea's aggression that was just kind of playing towards a smoke, but there's now pressure coming from Pop. This is so good from Orange.Sphynx, but that's even better from Artstar. 2 big kills to try and stem the bleed right now in this round. The third does not come through, so now the 2v2 looks a little bit more likely for the T side.
Yeah, Rain over here inside of the bomb site. Bomb's wrapping around behind her, and it's already at those buffers, so she's got to be careful. She does have Emily down in connector, but Eve, it's all
my God.
She's out of ammo, and now dancing around the train. It's Rain tapping down. Ah, what's going on? This isn't real. A minute left on the clock, and Rain's gonna get it. She'll get them both. And what a clutch, what a way to pick up a round. I just let out like a blood-curdling scream.
I was worried about
I could just relate, like, you know, that situation. We've all been there.
Here it is.
Look, this is one of the best clutches I think of. Oh, we didn't get the whole thing. I wish we had the whole, like, 45 seconds of that round playing out.
Like, honestly, credit to Rain for somehow doing that,
Yeah.
but also that's the inexperience, I think, from Orange, and just kind of that greenness to it all. And it's not a bad thing to see. It's endearing to see, because that's, you know, players get nervous. They make the mistakes that we all do, but let's see if Artstar can keep the track record clean towards B. A couple of players coming in, no plant available this time, fell off that one, and actually does get denied by the pistol, but by now the damage is done. I don't know if the plants will come in. One nade would have stopped that. Bomb did go down, at least they get some money, but it will just be GFI still alive. Can't stop much, and it's 4 standing for Dig and a defuse.
Yeah, I like, you know, I think if you're Orange there, you get everything you wanted to get out of that round, right? You get a bomb plant, and that in and of itself kind of felt like more than what they should have been allowed to get away with, right? They're very, very fortunate that Molotov doesn't come in just a second earlier. And that allows them to get pretty much everything they need here. Now, we've seen very, very conscious decisions to not bring these AWPs out from Orange, and that's an interesting one for me, right? You've had this double AWP setup be a pretty continuous thing for Dignitas, and no AWPing presence over on the side of Orange, so...
Where's the pacey number, this one?
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of been playing it very, very fast, very explosive in the majority of these rounds. It's been hit and miss in this round. Ooh, well, they have pulled it back into a 3v4. They are getting a bit of presence, but it's Artstar on this wrap round over in Pop Dog. They've actually read it, and they've shut her down. Somehow they've made this look doable, and we're down to the 2v2.
GFI, a little too wide on the swing. Jasmine left in the 1v2, not gonna happen. And the slowdown, you can see that utility coming out from Dignitas, just putting it down, hindering that pace that Orange wanted to bring towards it. Rain doing well to just kind of be a nuisance, be a bit of a pest on that, just hindering anything they wanted. So at the end of the day, I've got to say, it looks like Orange have humbled Dignitas enough where they can't get away with that mad aggression anymore. It's kind of been punished enough. Scoreline doesn't necessarily represent that. It's still, you know, it's an 8-2 scoreline. Dignitas are obviously doing incredibly well here, and there's no taking that away from them. I think that we are starting to see them playing a normal game. We aren't seeing those mad aggressive stances. We're not seeing, you know, these crazy pushes without utility to back it up. This is good. This is at least now getting more of a normalized game, and we might see Orange slow it down after being able to kind of hinder that initial boldness from Dignitas.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you're Orange, you felt pretty good about getting those couple of rounds on the back of those explosive plays, but I do think we're kind of seeing the limitations of them. You highlighted
That's
it, right?
right?
With
It is
the
limitation.
utility coming through, right? And you can't just keep blindly running through it if you're Orange.
Yep.
So they finally tried to take more of a default round. They've slowed this right down. They've got Argent over here towards B. She's just keeping an eye on it, making sure that no one from Dignitas can go aggressive, as we've seen they like to do.
You look at those mollies, you've got to be feeling this is going to be a B hit, right? Like, you see those mollies still staying with the T side. But the thing is, the Dignitas now have 2 players here. They still had 2 players here. You do still have Artstar over there as well. Good spray towards ramp. They do at least get towards the bomb. They do have the bomb over there as well, so there's a good chance on this. They just need the kills on the sides to try and hinder these CTs going back in, and they get it. That's a good little pickup. But now can they do any more? It looks like it's down to just 1 player, and sadly that player doesn't even have the Molotov. And geez, Emily, calm down.
You highlighted all the Molotovs, and it just seems heartbreaking that like the one person who didn't have a Molotov was last alive up in heaven.
Yeah.
So always pretty heartbreaking.
I think Emily still even had a smoke there. So, you know, my hopes and dreams aside, what does it matter? Interesting replay. Feels interesting. 9-2 though. I think this is starting to feel a little bit more like we'd expect.
Yeah.
It's kind of just boiled down to what you'd kind of imagine would happen, but what a brilliant start for Thea as well. What a good debut here at Valencia for her, just being able to kind of put numbers on the board, feel confident. And I think Milk's one of those underrated players as well. Very, very powerful player if she starts filling out the game, and it looks like she's starting to feel that, maybe find that little bit of a rhythm that comes with this as well. And you're seeing Dignitas locking it down in more of a traditional fashion. Yes, still aggression towards, box halls. Yes, towards a little bit of pop, but, you're looking at Rain here. Rain's been a real nuisance as well. I think credit where it's due towards Rain. She's been that, site anchor. She plays it very well. That clutch merely highlighted that.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of think every female event that I've ever cast, I've always had like some insane Rain and Artstar highlight. They're the two players that I always seem to get highlight plays from time and time again. So yeah, do be sure to keep an eye on them too. But yeah, I mean, it's just Orange getting hunted down at the end of this round. Oh, Rain up close, traded out, but Jazz 1-on-4. Over here towards A, and Dignitas, they do not like Jazz, and this isn't a B movie because the bomb getting dropped there outside of the A bomb site ends that round 10-2 now in favor of Dignitas, reaching double digits, locking it down.
Yeah, Dignitas kind of bending them over sideways and under. And looking at the money now for Orange, it's not good. 3.4, it's not the worst in the world. You could fashion something, but I think it's a good timeout to have. Try and maybe get a little bit of a grip back on this game. You've shown, I feel as though, for me, sadly, they've shown a lot of their cards now. They've shown what they can bring on the T side here. And this is the fact of playing Train, though. It's very hard to just have success of individual players.
Yeah, it can really feel like you are just running into a brick wall, right?
Yeah.
If the kind of 3 or 4 like set pieces that you have up your sleeve, if the couple of ideas you run aren't working, over on that T side, you do just kind of feel like you're getting a bit mental, right? Like, you're just running at this hurdle time and time again, and you're never quite able to get over it.
So this timeout could have been purely to discuss the buy as well, because as highlighted, the money was far from ideal, and then it looks like they've been quite reserved with investments. So again, for this one, they have had success on B with plants and maybe punishing a couple of players here and there. So if they can get past Emily, maybe there's a hope of this, but she's been pretty on point, honestly, and there hasn't been trades. And yeah, it looks like she's confident enough to stick it out. Our gets played in off the ramp. And there is still the rifle, so they kind of went on that Russian buy style where you've just got that surprise rifle on board, but it's 3v1. Arjun spraying in, hoping towards Milk, doesn't get it. A little bit of damage though, but it's not ideally what you want at this point. You're closing on the half, you need just a little bit more now.
And this is where I feel a bit bad, like, for Orange, in the sense that it was like, I think the one way that they would have been allowed to pull off a bit of an upset here in this best of one is if Dignitas came into this really underestimating their opponents, right? And just like going for too much of like a cocky play style. And that's really not what they did. We saw it for the first 5 rounds. They were flexing a little bit. Then they lost those 2 that Orange have on the scoreboard. And since then, they've just been playing their game. They've been playing like a nice kind of standard trade game. It's still going for the bits of aggression here and there, but it's a lot more measured. And they have just been shutting it down ever since. So now GFI and Jazz, only 2 players left up once again. It seems like it is always these 2 thrown into these 2vx scenarios. And now Jasmine getting dropped. This does leave GFI 1v5. Spots out the first and well tapped down Thea. So 8 points of health at a Dream. But I don't think she's longed for this world. Maybe, but no. Just falling short, 12-2. Last round of the first half coming up, and Dignitas looking very confident indeed.
Yeah, looking like a team, and that's what I'm seeing here, is that you're actually seeing a team playing against. It feels like Sphinx, Orange.Sphynx had theories, they had their own ways to play it out, but you're seeing an established team, right? You're seeing a team that's had years of experience on stages like this, years in tournaments like this. And this is the disparity, right? This is what happens when you go to these events. You will have these one-sided affairs. Now you do see talent, though. You see potential. You see those glimmers of what these teams could bring. And what a moment to learn. But for now, it's the lesson that's a pretty hard truth here, is that sadly, Dignitas are dominating. But GFI trying to get a couple of taps there. Not going to get it through as Emily's positioning starts to reign supreme. And speaking of Rain still being the anchor, you do have a couple of trades, but not enough to pull it to a favorable situation, leaving just Jasmine alive. Trying to play towards side. Does have the bomb. Maybe a chance to do a little something. Rain with what sounds like a desk pop going off. Gives it away, but ooh, the turn from Jazz is pretty good there. Can't get past Rain, and it will be a very, very dominant side here for Dignitas.
Yeah, a ridiculously one-sided affair. Dignitas are looking poised to take this first map, our opening map of the DreamHack Showdown. But that is all for this, for the time being. We'll be back with the second half. We're going to see who takes this initial best of one after the break.
We will stand our ground.
Welcome back to the Showdown here in Valencia. Beautifully done by DreamHack as I move my coffee off the desk. Didn't realize we're back on camera, but here we are. I'm doing a news segment and my producer is disappointed in me.
Well,
in other news.
Yeah, in other news. Now over to me with the weather, and it's not looking good for Orange. Things are heating up right now, and Dignitas, they're the ones bringing this heat wave in towards the B bomb site. Jazz gonna back off. Yeah, I'm giving it my best.
I'm proud.
But raining on in, it will be Dignitas digging their way into this bomb site, getting up close and personal and trying to take these initial gunfights. GFI's been deleted, but they're trying to get back into this.
I've got to say, I like what Milk did there. You know, that little push, you want to get territory as a T side, but maybe they overstepped again. This is dangerous.
Yeah, it's gotten close, and now just Artstar, but this might be a highlight. Oh, she gets them. She'll get all three. Dignitas take the pistol round. They might have been down in that retake. They might have looked like they were on the back foot, but Artstar stepping up massively when it matters most. My word, 14-2 now. And what a gut-wrenching way to have that round turn against you. A 1v3. And I don't even think she had armor.
Oh, that feels rough. But you know what I mean? It's never just Artstar. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just Artstar who's just pulled off the 1v3.
I mean, I did say it's always Artstar or Rain to give us highlights. And already, already they're proving exactly that.
Absolutely spot on. Quick hit coming out from the T's as well. Dignitas trying to be merciful in this killing right now. It's a bit of a awkward situation. You just lost a player to the old Uspus, but quick push from Thea. They are being sloppy here, Dignitas, I'm going to be honest, but they're going to win the round. They have rifles, they have armor against very limited amounts. There's not too much to be said. Sadly, by this point, though, you're on this round marker, and this is a best of one, so it's gone from 0 to 100 real fast.
Yeah, no, it really has. And yeah, I think, you know, I agree. Dignitas are a bit sloppy there. And I'm normally a big believer in, like, it's not over till it's over. But in this situation, I think they're pretty...
It's all over.
Yeah.
It is now.
And I maybe tend to agree with them there. Like, unless Orange are able to just pull out the most blinding CT half, it does just feel like pound for pound, there's so much more firepower on this Dignitas squad. And with them finding the opener into B, they've already got the bomb site secured. GFI, can she even keep them out from this inner bomb site?
She's done some work. I mean, bringing them down to what they are, it's still good play. This is all... Like, I don't want to round it up to just good experience, but at the moment, that's what you're kind of taking from this, is you're learning how you play against teams like this. You're learning the caliber of teams you're going to be against. And right now, the caliber is pretty high. We do have Evilise getting towards the site here. Maybe unbeknownst to some, good pickup, and it's now a 1v2. But look at the HP, and it is Rain, and I would not doubt Rain for a second. Baited on the bomb, they're not defusing just yet. Still toying with it, but time is ticking, and I think Rain knows she has this other player in the palm of her hand, and it's 16-2. And welcome to Valencia, Orange. That is a rough start.
Oh, it really is. And what a great start from Dignitas. I mean, we had kind of everyone stepping up. Rain topping the charts, Artstar narrowly behind, and a great showing from Thea up on the big stage, not letting the pressure get to her. All in all, I mean, everyone playing well on Dignitas, and for Orange, it is kind of a bit of a harsh awakening.
Yeah, it's what these events are about, though, in my mind. There is no better way to learn than from your losses.
Yeah.
And you watch that back if you're Orange, you go, okay, well, next time this is what we do. You know, next time we have to, work a way to get past just maybe not being able to take them on pound for pound, because those players on Dignitas are damn good. And they did manage to humble them. I got to say that at least they kind of stepped them back from that aggression that was coming out constantly on the CT side. They were able to temper that, which I think is a really good sign, but taking it further than that, it's where they fell short. So I just hope we see more of them down the line and what else they can bring.
I'm curious as well if they're going to keep this no AWP presence up, right? Because that was a rather odd thing, right? Like to look at. I can't.
On train.
Yeah, on
especially.
train. It was more the map as well. Like there's a few maps where you really don't see that, and it's like Dust 2, Train, kind of like two of the ones where you
staple diet of that. Yeah.
And it's like, it just felt very weird to me. I would love to see them try and spice it up with a bit of AWP play, maybe.
We love a bit of AWPing. And speaking of AWPers, there was one once, her name was Potter, she was glorious, and then she became a desk person. She gave it all up. Guys, how are you guys doing over there? You excited about this game? Did it kind of go the way you expected?
Yeah, Lauren, I think that on the desk, we had two potential scenarios that could have happened here. It was this one, which was the Dignitas coming out on top sort of in a very one-sided fashion, or we were hoping that maybe Orange could potentially put up a fight. But in this case, it turns out that Dignitas' pedigree reigns supreme. Potter, what did you think as you were watching that series?
I mean, I'm so happy for Thea. She had such a strong start coming into this matchup. And we
looked so confident as well.
Exactly, yeah. And we discussed coming into this, hopefully nerves wouldn't play a factor for her. And coming into this, she had a huge 3K to start off, I believe, in that 4th round. And we talked about the prep and teamwork for Dignitas' side of things. And it was all set up by a perfect flashbang from Artstar. So these are the kinds of gimmicky type of plays that you kind of need to set your players up for success, to give them the confidence to really just pull through and win the match handedly. And that's exactly what Dignitas did.
For sure. And I know that, we saw a lot of great moments from Dignitas, but from Orange's side, Melania, as you were watching, why do you think it didn't work out as best as they might have wanted?
Yeah, it's just sad to see. I think that it just choked a little bit. It's just sad. I think it was maybe communication problems. They seem to be really stressed, at least from what I could see. So I really hope that they can sit down together after this game and just, talk about all the problems and hopefully get it sorted for the upcoming match, because they had an extra pause as well. They should have used that one.
Yeah, and we were in the green room discussing about the fact that maybe communication was a huge factor for these ladies coming into this, because there was some moments where we thought, I wonder why she's not looking upper, or why is she not flashing for Ali. So there was a lot of moments where I think just that experience, that inexperience rather, it kind of showed in this matchup, but I think it was to be expected for sure.
Yeah, and Potter, I know you had briefly mentioned how Thea herself had a really, really good game. And when you have a new player, specifically a young player that hasn't had as much experience on LAN before, how crucial is a performance like that to boost their confidence headed into their future matches?
I think it's absolutely crucial. I mean, we discuss on the desk all the time that you learn a lot more from losses than you do wins. However, in this scenario particularly, I think that winning is going to bode extremely well for Dignitas to just start off the tournament right, start off on the right foot. And you mentioned earlier in the pregame that Dignitas maybe would be coming in a little bit slower because it is their first match of the day. So this definitely bodes well for them. This is exactly what I was hoping to see from Dignitas, is just start off with a bang, start off with some dominance, and start off your tournament strong.
Yeah, and we actually have a little bit of a replay package for those of you guys who may have missed that game. But Melania, when you take a look at what happens, was there anything else that stuck out to you?
I think Thea, yeah, here you go with the 3 kills that really boosted her confidence. I saw her smile and lit up, so that really was a good start for sure.
The beautiful
look at her.
smile. Yeah,
Yeah.
look how happy she is. That was a really, really great moment for sure.
We're actually ready for an interview over here with Emily. So Emily, congratulations. What a fantastic way to kick things off. 16-2. Did you expect it to be that one-sided?
We weren't really sure how playing against them would be. Obviously, it's our first time playing against each other, but we practiced so hard online all year long, so these results are expected from us, so we work really, really hard, and it shows.
How did you feel about how the veto went? Was train, what you wanted to land on, or were you comfortable with it?
Yeah, we have a pretty large map pool, so we're ready for any map.
And actually, one of the biggest things that we were just talking about was Thea looked great. She looked comfortable. It seemed like you guys were boosting her self-esteem as well. So coming into this tournament, especially when you have such a young player, and not just age, but in terms of experience as well, what little things were you looking out for?
Thea has been great so far. She's been playing with us online in ESCA League, and she's just fantastic. And yes, she's new in the female CSGO scene, but she's been here for a long time. She competes in local tournaments in North America, Philadelphia, so she already has that LAN experience, so she's prepared for this event.
And obviously, Dignitas has been doing so well, especially over this last year. So many titles under your belt, and yet we did see that change come out with Kath being replaced with Thea. So can you elaborate a little bit on why you guys chose to make that decision?
Sometimes it just doesn't work out. The chemistry doesn't match, so it was just kind of meant to be. And we already knew Thea from playing with her with WesG, so it was just natural. She's just so happy and positive, and we're very happy with the new pickup.
And was specifically for yourself, was that a difficult decision to make just because you guys have had so much success with that previous roster, or was it just, shoot higher, constantly trying to improve and moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we want to work so much harder than just winning female tournaments. We want to win these local LAN tournaments and see how well we compete against everybody. So it was just a natural step because we want to take it to the next level.
Last question before I let you go. It's going to be either Copenhagen Flames or I believe the other team is Demise. So when you look at the two of them, are you worried at all? I know that Mimi was looking really confident earlier when we spoke to her.
I think that's going to be a really fun matchup. Both of those teams work so hard, and lots of talented players on the team. So we'll just be watching the game, and if you want to win a tournament, you have to play everybody. So we'll just take it one game at a time.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and best of luck later today. Guys, we're going to head to a short commercial break, but when we come back, it's going to be Besiktas taking on 7 p.m.